Today's a video on the 39 Ti for the Win 3 Black. I'm not doing this video so much to tell you about this card. I'm doing this video to show you that for quite some time now, AIBs have been marketing their models for us to pay more to get the same thing. And traditionally, this has always been a $20, $30, $40 markup. But now, with the 90 Ti's, it's become a $200 markup. This is the 90 Ti Black. I initially did a video on the 90 Ti for the Win 3 Ultra, which is on my channel. You can see that if you want to see performance, etc. But this card launched at $200 price point lower than the Ultra. And when it first launched, I was curious on why there were three for the Win 3s. Normally there's two, right? One's a $50 less. Personally, I know that the clocks on the box are bullshit. Okay, because dynamic boost with the Nvidia driver will push it way above that. Okay, if you're using an Nvidia driver, you're using dynamic boost. That's pretty much it. You don't have to do anything. So today I'm going to demonstrate that with the black edition of the 3090 Ti. I'm going to show you how it boosts. I'm going to show you how it goes well over the specs on the box. And I'm also going to show you it's the exact same physical PZP and cooler as the 90 Ti Ultra. So I have the GPU hooked up. I just want to show you guys, I'm not going to have base settings right here, okay? And then I'm just going to hit run, and I'm just going to let it boost. I'm not overclocking it at all. This is all pure bone stock. And we'll just see how high it boosts. So, if you notice, the clock, right now it's at 2040 out the box. This is because of the Nvidia driver dynamic boost. It will boost as high as it can given that temperature and power, okay? So right now it's at 58, we'll let it run, and then I'll just run the fan at 100% and I'll up the volt power limit and let's just see if it goes past 2040, okay? But yeah, here you can tell it's gonna hold 2040, it's not gonna do more than that. So 2025, you notice it drops because the temperature went over 60 degrees. We're at 61C, 62C. As the temperature goes up, the boost clock comes down. Okay, that's just the chart itself. For some of the custom variant models, for example, on the 28 Ti Matrix, the boost clock is set to be more aggressive regardless of temperature. All right, so that's why sometimes some cards, even though they're based off another card, the same card, just with a different BIOS, one may boost higher simply because that table is set a little different. All right, so you see it's 2025 because it's at 66C now. What I'll do is I'll put the fan at 100% and then we'll see what it looks like. All right, guys, you can probably hear the fan. It's at 100% now. No changes to the clock, just raising the power limit. All right, we're gonna run this again and we'll see what it boosts at. By default on specs, 1860 for the Win 3 Black, 1920 for the Win 3 Ultra. All right, that's the default difference. Okay, so you'll see it's still holding. It's going to 2055 now. All right, and I'm sure if we can hold it a little bit under 50, it might go a little more. But you see it went up just that little bit simply because there was more power and the temperature is better. All right, so let's see what we can push out of it. So every single 90 Ti I've had so far, which is about 6, as long as you have the temperature under control, 2140 and up is almost guaranteed. All right, so here you go. You can see performance-wise, it is zero different. All right, physically, it is zero different. So what else I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna tear this one down, because I already tear the 4013 down, Ultra down, and I had 2040 written on the die. All right, and I noticed something else when I tore it down is that there is a BIOS sticker on the card, which I don't believe really seeing on the previous Win 3s I've torn down. It seems like that is the only way they differentiate which, they just flash the BIOS onto it and go, okay, this one will be a black, this one will be an ultra, and it's like zero difference period for such an upcharge, But let's tear it down and take a look. I'm sure this one actually probably can go a little bit more, but I see the power limits constantly being triggered. So the power limit on the Win 3 models is 480, not as high as the Strix, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm gonna tear the card apart and we'll take a look. Before I tear it down, I just wanted to show you guys real quick. It is the exact same card, okay? This is the black. I don't have the 4-to-win-3 on my hands right now, but I mean the Ultra version on my hand right now. But you can see, if you've seen the video, this is exactly identical, okay? So for those of you, I will make a video if I get the block, how to put the block on, how to tear it apart. But pretty much, just the screws in the back, there's one under the sticker, and then you have to do the screws on the side over here. And then the cooler is like held down just by these 4 screws, if I recall correctly. There is one under the back plate that you must get in order to get the heatsink off. And you just have these 3 fan cables here. And I think there's, yeah, the RGB one over here. I think this is RGB. And that's pretty much how you get the coolers off. All right, so I'm gonna tear it off now, and then we'll go take a look at the PCB. I took the card apart. You can see the 2040 on the die here. This is handwritten. This is the bin process. You can see it's the same as my 4-to-win-3 Ultra, which I'll put a photo up of it because I don't have it on hand right now. But the BIOS number here denotes it as a black. So you can see all the empty spots, right? This kind of tells you that for the Kingpin edition, these phases will be filled out. And you can actually even see the additional power connector, you know, over here. We know the Kingpin has a dual 12 pin, so you can see that here already. So pretty much the improvements, the gaps that are on this PCB itself, the solder points, you can tell for the Kingpin edition will not be there. Okay, so the Kingpin will be the same PCB. You can see that you pretty much, for the water block makers, they may have an easier time and may fit both. They can make it fit both. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm just gonna go to the computer real quick. I'm show you guys some stuff in terms of the pricing. So now we're at the EVGA website. You'll notice recently EVGA has cut the price by 200 on the Ultra. So now the gaming, the Ultra, and the black are all the same price. In reality, they were the same product with this totally irrelevant boost clock that I've shown you already. This is the game that every manufacturer plays. Okay, so if we come here to the Strix, you have the OC and the non-OC edition. It's the same kind of garbage. We have the same card, slightly different BIOS. That right now with Nvidia Boost means nothing. I understand the argument some people make. I don't want to overclock my card. I just want to put my card in and make it work. Well, when you're using Nvidia Dynamic Boost, these little 60 megahertz, 50 megahertz bumps that you're paying for don't mean anything, because they essentially, look, there's 3 versions of this, right? Oh, that's the 80 Ti. But yeah, you see, they play the same game with the 80 Ti, right? Now, for the 2080 Ti, Strix had 3 versions: the O11 Gaming, the OC edition, and then the regular Strix. Now that card had an A die and a non-A die. All right, so there was an actual difference. But most of the time, like 90% plus of the time, you're paying for something that doesn't make any sense. You're literally just helping them gain extra margin. All right, this is the Ultra for the Win3 PCB. Okay, now if you look at it, it looks identical to the one I just showed you on my black. Okay, it's not any different. In fact, it's also a 2040. And the other black I tore down once was a 2080. So they're not even giving you the better die if it's binned. They just, you know, randomly assign, and that's it. So when the next GPUs come out, do some research. Especially if you're buying high-end GPUs, do some research, okay? Whenever a reviewer gets a card, they always get the OC edition. All right, they always get the best edition. They're not going to get the crappy edition, the quote-unquote on-the-box crappy edition. All right, so it's there to make you feel you're getting the best by paying a premium. You're not. All right, when you're buying things like OC edition, non-OC edition, you're paying for the same thing and getting essentially the same thing, but you're paying the extra. This was okay. I didn't mind it so much when they were doing it for like $20, $40, $50, like they used to do. But now when they're playing the $200 difference for these things, it's not tolerable. It really isn't. For example, here, if I come to Micro Center
and I go to all 6 items found, right? There should be a, see, look at that. There's price drop, right? The overclocked is 21.49, and the regular one's 19.99. I mean, these two cards are identical. I have both of them. There's not a single difference. In fact, I'll tell you right now, aside from the one phase, I think a 1 or 2 phase difference, this card is the same as the Strix 3090 Ti. All right, so which is 2200, right? But that's a little bit different story. At least you get something different. But these 3 cards being identical, the 3 3090 Ti's, them being identical and having a markup on it is just insane. And I it's shameful that like a lot of reviewers don't point that out, that not only are you saving the money by buying a lower edition, you're actually getting the exact same thing. But they can't say that, because the moment they say that, they don't get a sample anymore. And that's just pretty much how it is. So as sad as it is, that's pretty much sums it up. Thanks for watching. When next gen cards come out, if you see the boost clock of just being a little bit different than like 40, 50 megahertz, don't fall for it. You know, it's always gonna boost much higher than that. These are not like KPE HOF cards where the spec clock is extremely high and there's some other elements to it. These cards are just, you know, the same shits, different prices, just to make a little more money off of you. All right. So thanks for watching and take care.